Welcome back. This video is going to be for you if you find yourself just exhausted, tired, burnt out, frustrated with yourself because you just don't have it in you to do what you need to do or what you want to do because you're just exhausted. I'm going to be talking a bit about my experience with exhaustion, the planet's experience with exhaustion right now, and some things that we could some questions we can start to ask and things we can start to do to help ourselves just be more. So I've talked about this a little bit in other videos. I was very, very tired starting from the time I was a little kid, about 3 years old. And it made me feel like shit. I had friends and I played sports and stuff, but I always just had a push. There was no gas in the tank ever. I felt like there was 2 cents of gas in the tank. And most of my life, I felt like I was just pushing like an 18-wheeler truck with 19 flat tires and no engine, up a hill in the snow. I had a lot of judgments around myself for being tired. I went into rehab when I was 26, and it was a really good rehab, but they didn't really take into much account the fact that, I had been completely dormant for most of my life, and they just kind of threw us all into action all day, every day, which was great because we needed it, but my body couldn't really handle it. All I wanted to do was sleep. All I wanted to do was rest. And I had developed these beliefs about myself because I was always tired, that I was lazy. And that was one of the things that would come up in rehab, right? Being lazy. And I spent most of my life judging myself for this. What is this? And I started kind of owning the fact that I was lazy. And in owning the fact that I was lazy, what I would then do to get myself to take action was to push. It would be to push really, really hard because I wasn't well. So there wasn't any way to get my body to go unless I pushed. And if you've had chronic fatigue or you're on an awakening process journey and you're just exhausted all the time, then I imagine you know what I'm talking about, because that's how it is. And the system and life and the world doesn't slow down for us. It just pushes you to go forward anyway. But one of the things that I developed, like I said, was this belief, which made me punish myself and push myself instead of go easy on myself. One of the things I want to talk about today is the concept of laziness. First off, what is it? Nobody knows. Lazy is a meaningless label. Lazy is just a way to judge someone and kick them when you don't understand what they're going through. There's always a reason underneath for what's going on. If you have a physical ailment, there is a mental, emotional, and spiritual reason. It may be difficult to find it, and it can get so woven into the body that it takes a while, on the physical plane of doing, exercise and herbs and diet and all those things before you can even unearth the root problem to clear it emotionally. But ultimately, it basically always comes from somewhere, even if it comes from your ancestors. Even if you inherited it genetically from your parents, it still came from somewhere. So for me, being lazy, all it did was create this belief structure whereby I spent so many years angry at myself and pushing. Come to find out later, one of my primary life lessons, and we all have different ones, is learning self-love, learning to be easy on myself, because for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, all I did was fight. I just fought through everything. I fought through every life. I had trauma on a soul level, which is possible. A lot of people don't know this. I had wounded pieces of my energy, and I had been so stuck in competition and survival and power dynamics that I had worn myself out. And so many men need this lesson, and they don't get it because our system is designed contrary to this lesson of incorporating the divine feminine, self-care, self-nurture. And as I learn this about myself, I've let go bit by bit by bit. And when I get really tired and really burnt out, sometimes it's like maybe I just don't feel like doing something because, I'm afraid and I have to check in. Like, am I resisting this because I'm afraid and I don't want to go through the fear? But regardless of whether it's that or it's not that, I make sure to spend ample time being kind to myself and just letting myself off the hook and letting myself rest. And if the system is so difficult that I'm just not going to make it, then it's too bad. I put myself and my own health and well-being before anything else. It's just a declaration and a commitment I've made to me. So if you're, tired all the time, sometimes it's just because you're being asked to do on many dimensions things that are a bit much for your body. We're all going through this massive ascension awakening process. The planet's gone into 5D. The human resonance frequency is raising every day. The collective is expanding. The old world's falling apart. And our systems are constantly just trying to keep up with all of this. Transmutation, personal, collective. Some of the stuff you may be going through has nothing to do with you. It's collective stuff, collective garbage that just falls into your space and your body that you're being asked to transmute. You don't have to transmute all of it, but it helps to have awareness of like, what is my energy, what is not, what is the collectives, what is not, and to just declare not to transmute stuff for other people anymore. If someone is lazy, it's not like I said, it's not lazy. It's maybe it's unmotivated, but why? Like, no passion. Okay, so there's no passion. Why? One of the things I found, and I did that from research, like John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus talks about this. A lot of times, a lack of motivation comes from a belief that what you want and need are not possible. And if you think about that, like, if you don't think that what you want to create is ever going to happen or it ever can, what's your motivation? Nothing. You don't have one. Just survival. It's just survival. Do you have beliefs about yourself? Do you believe you're lazy? Do you believe there's something wrong with you? Do you believe that because you're unmotivated, you're just bad? That's just a blanket label. What's underneath it? Where are your needs not being met? Where were they not met? Where do you believe it's not possible for you? How can you start to shift that little by little? It's difficult because we live in a system that basically either you have to work all day every day for someone else, or you kind of have to be this man or woman on fire for your purpose, which is great, but it's still exhausting. What if you just want to exist? What if you just want to be? Ultimately, it's all an illusion. There's nothing you have to do. There's so many motivational speakers out there that just like, fuck what you want, fuck what you feel, get up, do it anyway. Think now, sometimes, if you're really afraid to go out of your comfort zone, if you're really afraid to do what you love because, you're just hesitant, sometimes you do just need to push. It's like, fuck what you feel, fuck that fear, do it anyway. But just generically, which is what happens so many times, there's just these generic concepts put out there that leave all these hooks and cords and locks and knots in people's subconscious minds because they're not explained clearly enough. When it's just thrown out there like that, it can really do damage, just kicking people. And that's an aspect of our system. And again, it's complicated because our system still kind of works like that, but it's crumbling in a way. And some of us are at least in a position now where we can start to look at where it is that we're not getting our needs met, what it is that we want, what it is that we need, how we can rest a little bit. It's like this global adrenal overdrive thing that we've all been programmed into. And some people can't get out of that because they have no freedom at all. But some of us kind of barely do some. I know some of you probably have jobs that you don't like and you're stressed out and you can't just quit the job, right? It's not like that simple. You can't just stop and go live in the woods and live off grid. I mean, that's not as simple as it sounds. But we can start where we to look at why we're so tired, to look at how we can cultivate rest and relaxation into our life, how we can find times to just be. And some of it is dissolving that whole mechanism of like, you always have to be doing something. You always have to be accomplishing something. You always have to be motivated. No, you don't. Maybe you just want to chill out. How do you carve out time to do that? Maybe it's just a Saturday afternoon. Maybe it's just an hour at night. You just give yourself permission to consciously rest. I'm not going to do anything for an hour. I'm just going to be. And then what happens is from that place of allowing it all to just dissolve, allowing yourself to come back to stillness and nothingness, you'll feel your true desires. And then those will pull you in the direction of where you want to go. And it's going to take some work. You don't just let go and everything comes to you. Like, websites, businesses, they don't build themselves. But when you give yourself permission to calm down a bit, and you're pulled by the things that you want to do, like I said, it's a pulling. It's not a pushing. It's a pulling. And there's more of a reward. And there's more of an honoring of yourself in it. And always, I find, be easy on you. How you treat yourself is the most sacred relationship there is. And everyone wants the partner. Everyone wants the money. And I get it. So do I. But what's underneath that is how you treat yourself. So how can you give yourself permission to know that just by being, you're enough. Just by existing, you're enough. Just by taking care of yourself, it's enough. That's an act of rebellion. Everything in our reality is a consensus. Right? When you think contrary to what is generally pushed on us, you're being a conscious rebel. I did that. During COVID, I was in a job that I was grateful for, and it wore me the fuck out. I felt like I was dying. And I saw all these people getting on unemployment, enough unemployment to survive. And I was like, I need that. I need to get out of this job. I'm going to get out of this job. And I'm going to get on that unemployment. And I did. I manifested my way out of that job. And I went to Ashland, Oregon for a year. And I didn't do shit but rest. That was my fucking act of rebellion. And not everyone can figure a way to do that. It was kind of orchestrated by the universe, and I'm grateful for it. But there's little ways that we can do that. There's little ways we can find to kind of divinely rebel in service of ourself and therefore others. Not selfish service, but like loving, honorable service to us first, and then will be shown, right, how we can help others. So let me know what you think of all this in the comments. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much. And until next time.